Hey everyone, welcome to the It's My Time show. I'm your host, David Andron, along with co-host James Gamble of the Global Scouting Bureau. Welcome aboard, James.
Hey, Dave. Good to be on.
Today in this episode, guys, we want to talk a little bit about baseball season. Baseball season's back in full force, and we've been out seeing some good quality players. I love seeing everybody back on the field, and all the fans in the stands. Unfortunately, the things that I want to talk about today are some of the negative parts of the game. Some of these coaches, not all coaches, but there's a few coaches out there, a few recruiting companies that just manipulate and mislead players and parents, and providing false hope and false information to really monetize on these kids' dreams, and it's really frustrating for me to see. So we may upset a few people in this episode, but we're going to get to the facts and give some warning signs of what players and parents should look for when they're playing for coaches, whether it's high school coach, summer league coach, or part of these recruiting companies that might mislead them and take advantage of them.
Sure. Well, Dave, I'll start off with saying, number one, that's why you and I both wrote a book, and it's called It's My Time. It's been a bestseller. I recommend that every single parent that has a kid that's aspiring to play at the next level, go and get the book. In it, we're trying to turn over the information to the family so that they can know. What I experience a lot is, like you were saying, a little bit of false hope. They oversell your kid so that they can monetize, and that's the truth. And sometimes it's done unintentionally. Other times I find that it's being done very intentionally, and that's what frustrates me, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well. Parents, if I'm just speaking very bluntly, if your son truly throws 78 to 82 miles an hour, hey, that's good, and he can move on to the next level. He's probably not going to the SEC. Okay, that's the reality. There's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be people that are outside of the norm. But if you will track college baseball at the various levels, meaning junior college, Division III, Division II, NAI, Division I, you're going to see some trends. And a lot of that information we put in the book. At no means are we saying that at Division II, they don't have guys that throw 90. That would be false. Right now, Hayden Erb, which was a Power 5 pitcher, is now in Division II baseball in Tampa, and he was up to 98. Okay, that's factual information. So it's not one size fits all, but what's being done a lot, we'll hear of guys getting, if they come to this, or if they're going to this other event, or if it's at this location, it's going to change their life. That's false. What's going to change their life is who they are. Right. They have to obtain the skill set. I tell everybody that there's three major factors in advancing to the college level. One of it's going to be your athletic ability, one of it's going to be your academic ability, and one of it's going to be your financial ability. Okay. Now, there's a few more things as well, but you're going to have those three. If you have one greater than the other, it affects where you go. But those are three things that you can't get around. If you're going to a school that charges $70,000 a year, you better have that financial ability, because in the sport of baseball, we don't have full rides. People hear about it all the time, but there's really not full rides that are given out. When families say they got a full ride, the majority of time, it's a blend of academic and athletic, because there are only, on normal years, 11.7 scholarships. And when you have 35 players, you can just do math. You're not going to get everybody on scholarship. I don't want to sit here and tell you this year's rules, because this year, right now, at the Division I level, they have 40 players and they have 12, but the rules are going back to the norm next year. So I think, Dave, that's kind of what you're talking about. And I've been seeing that as well. People will send me things about a trip to the Dominican, and I'm going, hey, that's great. And when you're 16 years old and you go to the Dominican, that's a life experience, but that's not a recruiting experience.
Right.
There's not schools in the Dominican recruiting players that are American to come back to the States. So the parents that do sign up understand that you're going on a life experience, a vacation, and playing a little baseball. And a lot of times I see them as significantly overpriced. I've been to the Dominican multiple times. I know the cost to go there. It's a third world country. So when you're saying $1,600 for a week, excluding your flights, you're going to spend $2,000 for a week, and the only thing you're getting out of it is a good social, and I'm not knocking that. You get to see the world a little differently, but I wish that would be sold to the families as that's what it's doing. That's what it is. You're not going over there and there's going to be 20 American colleges watching you play in the Dominican. That increases your opportunities back here. So I'm not a real big fan of that. I know when colleges did it, like Nichols, I thought it was a great thing because Nichols already had the college players and they were getting an experience, a team building experience. They were showing the differences of how life is here, so we don't take things for granted. Some of it was they were serving. For the high school kids, I think they're just getting it sold wrong. And so the parents, you really need to look into it. I mean, that's just one of the stories, Dave. We talk about this all the time. On youth baseball, a lot of the people that are watching it, their kids are going from the youth side of baseball, which in the past has been called U-Trip or say 2D level baseball. That's the big companies that are out there doing the tournaments. And now you're moving into a high school where the number of players are going down and the desire is to develop and advance. Excuse me, some of the things that I see, which is, I guess, strange, are all these mandates. Okay, and I know we see that in the world today, Dave. You can comment on it. I mean, there's people that love mandates, there's people that don't. But what's strange to me is some of the people that were against mandates from a tournament side are now mandating their kids. They can only play on this team. They can only advance if this guy likes them. And it's just a walking contradiction. For me, give people the opportunity. Look, make no mistake. I mean, we own a youth organization. We have guys that leave us because they might feel they have a better opportunity elsewhere. Does that bother you at times? Yeah, but it's their choice. And that's an opportunity for us to do things better so the kids don't want to. The challenge in this, and I'll let you talk again in a minute, the challenge is when, there's a mandate, you have no option, and parents are afraid. They don't want to ruin their kids' opportunities. For me, that frustrates me at the coaches. Who are they to mandate? They're a high school coach. Know your role. I like a lot of these high school coaches, but they don't like mandates. So don't turn around and mandate. On the flip side, some of the tactics that some of these summer teams will do, I mean, they will get a guy that's been a scout for 20 years with Major League Baseball. He doesn't understand this level. I mean, I've been working at the Major League level for 24 years. But I've been at this level for 12, and I continue to have to learn, how it operates and how the recruiting process is moving on because it's very, very different. The average Major League scout, if he signs 4 to 5 guys a year, so that means if he helps 4 to 5 guys a year, he's a successful scout. If my time only helps 4 to 5 guys a year, you're out of business, right? Okay. If I only help 4 to 5 guys a year, I'm out of business. I help 4 to 5 players from the GSB standpoint a week. Okay, each week, this many players are moving, whether it's high school to college, college to professional, professional being brokered somewhere else internationally. But what I see happening is now some good men that may have been in Major League Baseball are getting on the phone and saying, well, you should stay with your team, but you should come to this event or you should go to that event with a different brand. Now, the first thing they'll tell you is, oh, no, we're not trying to recruit the player. We just want them a little bit. I got to tell you, that's a slippery slope. I mean, we see so many transfers now, and what's really happening is that the kids don't really understand what commitment is, whether it's for our organization or for another organization. If they're there and they're with that team, my belief is they need to play. You should win some and you should lose some. You have to learn how to lose in the game of baseball. Anybody that doesn't believe me, go look up the Atlanta Braves last year. They did not go undefeated. Part of them being a world champ is they learned how to lose and to get back up. Today's world, the second that a team is not winning, and even if you look back at when we did the podcast with the commissioner of the Summer League in Kansas, one of the things that's frustrating is now players are starting to say, oh, okay, my team's not in it, I quit. I'm going somewhere else. Well, that's not a good ideology, but the truth, and you have to get back to the truth. The advancement of the athlete is directly related to the athlete. It is not about the shirt that he's wearing. It's not the shoes that he has. It's not the mailbox money he gets sent because they partnered up with a cup. That's just simply not true. It's going to come down to the ability of the kid. So,
and that's the problem with the mandates. There's no one person or one brand that's going to help multiple kids. You know, a lot of these parents are making decisions on their summer teams or on their recruiting companies because they see 3 or 4 players signing with major Power 5 schools, and they think that the company or the team did that. Those kids would get signed no matter where they played, whether there's, you know, they're gonna find them. The scouts are gonna find those players whether they're playing at a single A high school in the woods somewhere, or, you know, playing for the best team ever. The younger players or the less talented players, those are the ones they need a network. You know, My Time Sports and GSB, we don't just, you know, take these kids and say, okay, we're going to help you on our own. You know, we have a network of over 2,000 college coaches that we work with. We have a network of, you know, multiple scouts that we, you know, have in our system. You know, it takes a whole network to help the lower end players, and that's where we focus a lot of our time in, because the guys that are going to sign with LSU, they really don't need us.
Sure.
The guys that are signed Division II, Division III, NAI, junior college, that's the ones we take a lot of pride in, that these other organizations that are selling the false hopes take advantage of. You know, I had a player that, you know, told me that he couldn't be part of My Time anymore because his summer showcase team said, you know, they don't want any outside recruiting services. They're going to handle all of it. But then they made him spend money to go to a camp at University of Texas. This kid has no chance of playing at Texas. So why, you know, force his family to spend $300 plus hotels and travel and everything else to go to a camp at Texas when he can't play there? You know, that's selling false hopes and dreams and monetizing on, you know, these kids' information.
No doubt about it. And a lot of times whenever people use, I mean, our rhetoric is being copied and used daily. When others say it's all about the network, I totally agree with that statement. The challenge is when their network fails, we're the ones that get the call to do the work. There's multiple websites that, you know, put up the alumni list, and they're trying to sell the future kids based on the past kids and success. But if you look deep into it, there's times where a kid had already committed. He played in one tournament. He wore that brand for one tournament. It's being sent out as if that group did something for him, which is simply false. Or other times where it's always more than one person that helps. That's why it should be a united effort. Okay. Yes, we, you know, one of our companies is United Baseball, but it is not a brand. And I say that over and over. It's an ideology. I want others to have the ideology. It takes mom, it takes dad, it takes high school coach, it takes, you know, parent psychologist, so to speak, because there's so much that goes into developing an athlete and preparing him for the next level. It's not just a one thing. It's not play in this tournament, therefore I sign. It's not put on this jersey, therefore now I'm the best. It doesn't work that way. If it did, I mean, I've got Puma shoes and I'm not getting invited to the Olympics to run fast like Usain Bolt, okay? Because the shoes ain't making me fast. We have to be wise to that. No different than in today's world, you know, hey, I need a new bat. I need a new bat. The bat does not make you a hitter. Okay. They have really good bats that are coming out, and I'm not against bat companies, but the bat doesn't make you a hitter. And anything that leads you in that direction is simply false.
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
It's frustrating. You know, I see organizations all the time put out their alumni list and things like that. And I try to help every organization. I help you guys at UBO. I help, you know, Coach Joe Two-Tone with Southland Hogs. You know, it doesn't matter what jersey they wear. You know, I want to help those players advance. When I see these players for other organizations that are telling their kids, you know, we don't want you to be part of any other recruiting service, and then I'm the one making the phone calls to help these kids advance, and then they're on their website as, you know, they sign them.
Well, again, that's why I'm a big proponent of, you know, My Time can be a part of the process, and I know it is. And the same thing with GSB. I mean, how many times have I seen it on a website and I'm going, hey, you know what? You guys called me. We used our network to travel down, the player signed, and there you go. You know, you're the guy, you got him somewhere. No, you knew the right people. And that goes throughout, you know, literally every single organization in the Southeast has used our network. They don't all want to admit it, but when their guys go to a certain level and they want to go play pro ball, well, they're calling us, whether it's an independent opportunity or when the ex-big leaguer's out of a job. I mean, that's something recently that they called us, and we had, you know, a Mexican summer team offer, and we've had Korean teams making offers to guys. That's just what our companies do. We're into the networking business full time, trying to help athletes. I've never once said, well, you know what? I won't like a guy based on what school did he go to? Nah, that school's bad, so he can't be good. That's simply not a reality. Well, Dave, one of the things that it's doing is a lot of this is transferring into the college game. I was just at a junior college game. We know of the 4-2-4 transfer, but now I'm seeing guys that are 2-4-2, hoping to be 4, which just do that math. Junior college, 4-year school, to another junior college, to now want to go to a 4-year school. They're a freshman and they're 21. Okay. Try to wrap your head around the complexity of that, not the ability of the athlete, but now the compliance issues of getting them in. How many people along the way have been giving them good information? I mean, that's going to be a tough hurdle to cross. And I was looking at the athletes, and they're good enough. There's no doubt about their ability. But now it's, can you get them eligible? And now the schools, I've talked to multiple colleges, they're going to try, but we're in uncharted waters. Some of that's COVID related, but some of it is the assumption that the grass is always greener on the other side. Let me jump. That's not the reality. You have to blossom where you're planted.
Right.
Okay. Now, yes, there are circumstances and times. I'm not trying to say I'm against the portal in general, but at the end of the day, it's up to the athlete. Just like last night, I was talking to a group of families and they were asking about showcases. And, don't punch me through the screen here, but I didn't say, hey, go to my time. I said, the number one showcase you'll ever attend is called your high school practice. And they all looked at me and I went, guys, you get to do it over and over again. That means you have a high exposure rate to your coach. The goal should be to make my coach like me and make my coach write my name in the lineup. That's your job. And you have multiple opportunities to do it. So each and every day is an opportunity to impress your coach, whether you like them or don't like the coaches. In my life, every single coach that I've spoken with likes to talk about his favorite players. Now, the truth is that doesn't mean it's the best players. It means it's his favorite players, but it's the player's job. Now, is that always easy? I'm not telling him to go kiss up. Find out who your coach is. Do your background. Know that coach. Learn his expectations and become that. Perform. If you do that, you're going to become one of his favorite players, and he's going to talk a lot about you. At the high school level, that's the number one thing that I think you can do. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to work with you and for you. I mean, Dave, we've talked about it before. There's multiple players playing college baseball that have never played a day of varsity baseball. And when I say that, people get offended because they're like, it's not right. Well, I mean, it's not right. Sometimes they're put in situations where they've done everything they can, and the coach doesn't like them. That's the reality. And that coach has a right to like who he wants to or not to. Maybe a rule was broken and that crossed a certain line in the coach's mind. I want everybody to live right. I mean, again, when you read some of the books that we've put out, it's trying to go all in as a person and as an athlete. But I also know that I've made mistakes in my life, Dave. You've made them in yours. We're not saints. I want to help athletes, and I use sports as that platform. I do believe that guys make mistakes and they can turn their lives around. And a lot of good programs have mentors as college coaches. And for me, Tony Robichaux helped guide me in my life. He was known as a pitching guy. Truth is, he didn't help me a whole lot in pitching. He helped me a whole lot in how to live. So I'm glad they didn't say, well, you made one mistake and you can never play for him. I'm glad he gave me those opportunities. But anyway, Dave, I think I'm seeing the same thing as you, on the false things being put out there. And it's so tricky because it's this great cotton candy. Like, hey, if you come down to Florida to this tournament, your life will be changed. Now, if you go down to that tournament in Florida and, don't perform well, nothing happens. Nothing, except you spend a lot of money going down to Florida. It's great for their economy. You can, if you have ability, even where you're at, that's the whole point of my time. It's your time. You're not penalized because you're at a rural program. Nick Lee was with the Tampa Rays. He's from a place called Ragley. Nobody knows where Ragley is. He was 6'5", throwing 95, arguably the best high school player I've ever laid eyes on. Okay, he's been injured multiple times, but he was an absolute stud. It didn't matter that he was from Ragley. What mattered is the right people got to see him. His coach then started talking about him all the time. As we all started talking about him, he could have picked any college in the country to go to. That's how talented he was. it would be foolish for any organization, including my own, to say we were the reason. We weren't. Nick Lee was the reason. Nick Lee was a stud. He could hit, he could throw, he had the character, he had, it was him. We were just a part of it. And for me to leave out, let's say, Coach DeVille, that'd be wrong too. Coach DeVille was instrumental in shaping who he was as a person and as a player. But then if I leave out his dad, Billy Lee, I'd be false too, because his dad was the one out there when he was 5 years old with his glove telling, hit every spot, hit every spot. I mean, it took a united effort for Nick Lee to become Nick Lee. And that's what I want people, to know. It's not about the one organization. It's not about the jersey. It's about the people working for everybody should be working to give the kids the opportunity. And then when they have that, those kids have to be prepared, and that's on them. So
we're about to go to commercial break. Before we do, parents, I just want you to understand that if your coach is mandating you play with just them and you don't experience other organizations, it's probably because they're trying to cover up what they really don't know on the network that they don't have, the connections they don't have. So, really look for the red flags. You'll see them. They'll pop out if you really know what you're looking for. It's all about trust. It's all about, who the college coaches trust. And, it's a situation that could be tough for you if you're, on a high school team. The high school coach is the one mandating that stuff. But there are ways around it, and, you can figure out how to resolve the matters in a positive way. So, and also the personality conflicts with some coaches. I mean, some coaches do look at players just on a personality level instead of, putting the best nine on the field. I do a lot of mental training. I've written a mental training book that talks about the different personality types. And a lot of times if the coach is a big time extrovert, they shy away from the introvert players. And, they expect everybody to be a rah-rah player out on the field. And some kids just can't do that. So that affects, playing time and things as well, not just the ability to hit and throw and run. So there's a lot that goes into the game, and, you really need to open your eyes to it and understand what red flags to look for and seek help. If you have to seek help from other professionals or administrators, then, do so. But we're going to go to a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with the Who's That section.
You made it. You went further than even you believed. You took your friends, your teammates, teachers, and coaches. You needed Dad, but Mom was there through it all. See, you didn't do it alone. It took a united effort. It also took you. United Baseball is a full-time organization focused on development and advancement of athletes. If you're a high school-age baseball player with a desire to play at the next level, you could be next. Log on to unitedbaseball.org to learn more.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this My Time show. Now it's time to get started with the Who Is That section. Today I want to talk a little bit about some of our recent signings, some of the My Time prospects that have signed and committed to play at the next level. First off, I'll talk about the catcher from Loreauville High School, Bronson Louvier, signed with Louisiana State University at Alexandria, LSUA. He actually officially signed yesterday, and we're excited to see him play at that level. The next one is Nathan Paul from Jena High School. He's a left-handed pitcher, mid-'80s. He signed with the new school coming into Crowley, Don Melvin University. It's a private Christian college that's starting next year in Crowley. And we're excited to see him compete at that level. Next player is Reed Maples from Belle Chase High School, right-handed pitcher. He signed with Indiana Tech University. Kel Morrow from Southside High School, the outfielder, also signed with Centenary College in Shreveport. And, I'm excited to see him go up to that school and play and compete. And, he's going to get a quality education up there as well. So, we're excited about that. A couple of big power arms, Sam Hall from Westbrook High School, signed with Panola College in Texas. And Connor Mathern from Covenant Christian Academy signed with Delgado. And those two are going to be able to throw it. They're both upper 80s and, command the zone a little bit. So I'm excited to watch them. And then the final two I want to talk about is Colin Cure from Holy Cross High School here in New Orleans. He's a catcher. It's signed with Belhaven University. And then Che Petrie from Terrebonne High School, middle infielder, signed with Baton Rouge Community College. So, that's just a short list of some of the players we moved on the last few weeks. And, we're really excited to watch them advance. So, we'll be out scouting more games, more tournaments, getting more players signed this weekend. And James, I know you've been out seeing a lot of quality players as well.
I have. Yeah, I'm just going to mention a few. I think tonight's a big matchup down in my hometown, your hometown. where we went to school, Berwick's going to be playing against Lorville, and it's going to feature Hayden Robinson, which has been up to 91 as a junior, against Riley Marcotte. And there are, 6, 7 different colleges that are coming in to see him. Riley is the left-handed pitcher. The first outing that I saw him, he was 86 to 89. His last outing was 84 to 87. But a quality lefty with some put away stuff. Another guy is Ethan Judice. He's hitting at a school that's not a powerhouse in baseball, so it's kind of tough. He's over at Hanson Memorial, but he's a guy that's been up to 89. And the first 2 players are 23s, Marcotte and Robinson. Judice is a 24, and he's been up to 89. He can really pick it at short. His future is undetermined. He's had offers already, but is he going to be a pitcher? Is he going to be a position player? We all try to speculate, but the truth is he's going to control that by his continued improvements. Then I was fortunate to watch Shake Snyder throw a no-hitter against Berwick early in the season. I was there, tapped every pitch. I think he's arguably one of the best pitchers in the States. I know some people may beat up or talk about where he could improve. You're talking about an absolute boy man because he's not fully developed yet. He's about 6'5", and he's a big boy. So I don't want to put a weight and then make everybody mad, but I mean, he was up to 91 for me. Now I've heard rumors he's been higher. I was there with a Stalker Pro 3. I've got the top of the line stuff. He was up to 91, and that doesn't matter. He could pitch at any level right now. The reason I say that is I have been out and watched LSU. I have been out. I've watched Tulane. I have been out. I've watched UL. I'm not saying he's at the top of their rotation, but his stuff today is as good as players on all of those rosters. I think he's committed to LSUE. I've been very open that I think he's going to have a plethora of opportunities above and beyond because he's a man playing in a boys sport. I'm sure somebody can potentially, beat him one day, but they're not going to beat him. They're going to beat the team Vanderbilt, which is a pretty good team. Chad Menard's the coach there. He's been doing this for a long time. But Owen stands out at a level that now pro scouts are starting to go in and take looks. So it's really undecided. Maybe he has a bump, and if he hits those 93s and 94s like I'm hearing, hey, things can happen. But for me, even at the 89 to 91, his pitch ability was high. He could really spin it. And there's a whole nother level that's still in him, meaning that he's not in he's going to be in better shape in the future. It's a work in progress. He's gotten in better shape. But Dave, once you get into colleges, you get in the right programs, you go from your boy body to your man body. He looks like a man, but he's still got a little, he's not shaving every day. This is a big old boy that, I hope nothing goes wrong. I hope he stays healthy because you might see this guy pitch on TV one day. That's how talented I think he can become. So it's been exciting to go out there. The same thing. I've been out to the college games and I use the same exact equipment to measure the college athletes as I'm measuring the high school athletes. That's why at times when people start having opinions involved and I'm going, well, velocity is not an opinion. Foot speed's not an opinion. Those are factual things that are documented. I can only tell you that, yes, there's outliers that we talk about in a book, but if your son's throwing 82, he's probably not going to be heavily recruited by Division I programs. Now, as soon as I say that, they're going to say, well, I watched Grambling play against Mississippi State, and the guy was 74 to 78. Yeah, that's true. That's the outlier I'm talking about. But if Mississippi State's arms line up 1 through 20, you're probably going to see 18 of them throw 90 and above because that's Mississippi State. The SEC is arguably the highest level to play. So I'm not trying to get into a gotcha moment, but I am trying to say that that's why I like our book. I think it gives parents the ability to go use it. They can use their iPhone. They can get a stopwatch and start measuring their kids. A lot of what we do, they can do, and then it takes away opinion. When we do this who dat section, who is that? I'm openly telling you the guys that I'm naming, they're going to be next level players. Ain't no if, doubt. It's not because of me. It's because of them. They're good. I mean, they have a bunch of schools coming in tonight into our little hometown. It potentially is going to change the life of multiple athletes because it may not be Hayden Robinson. He may not have a good game. It may be Reshord that's catching behind the plate that has a great game and it changes his life forever. Oh, by the way, this is in Berwick. This is not in Atlanta. It's not in West Palm Beach. We didn't give it the name of, maybe we should, the Sugarcane Classic Blaster event. This is baseball. they're coming not to watch the teams. They're coming to watch the athletes on the teams. It's athlete driven. It's player first. When Southeastern, Nichols, all these schools are coming in, they're not coming in to watch Lorville. They're coming in to watch Riley Morcott. They're coming in to watch Hayden Robinson. They get to see everybody else. So we shouldn't be jealous. We should be thankful that those kids are on those teams. But it's not because of James Gamble, GSB. It's because of these athletes right here. That's the truth. That's their job, is to go find these players. So anyway, they've been a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to go out there tonight to see how they perform, because it's a whole nother level of pressure when you have all these college recruiters coming in, and it should be exciting.
And with that being said, for the players, when you do see scouts in the stands, try to control your breathing, and the mental side of it, because you see so many of them, as soon as I put a radar gun up there, they're trying to overthrow, they're yanking their head, their velocity falls, their command, struggles, because they're trying to do more than what they are capable of doing. So really, you got to take a minute, take some deep breaths, visualize yourself, try to block out all the outside interference and focus on, staying in control of what you can do. Don't try to overswing, don't try to over pitch, stay focused on yourself and, really relax and play the game.
Totally agree.
Again, check out our books. It's My Time is the recruiting book that James was talking about. It's been recognized by several organizations as, one of the best baseball books available. The Mental Training Guide for Elite Athletes has been a bestseller on Amazon for several months. It helps a lot of the college and the pro athletes, but it's also, a good tool for high school and youth athletes as well. If you're looking for any showcase summer teams, there's several out there, guys. I'm not going to tell you go one or another, but UBO, James's organization is one of the best. And, we'll put a link if you are looking for a team. We'll have a link on the bottom of this section in the description section that you can check out the organization and find out if it's a place that you want to play. Thank you for joining the It's My Time show, James. Thanks for being on again, and we'll see y'all again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, guys. Take care.